Very few movies nowadays are soulful and are able to completely immerse you in the fictional world where you just don't want to leave. If you missed catching up on this wholesome movie, The Holdovers, that came out last Christmas, I highly recommend you give it a watch. This is a Christmas movie, but it's not one of those cliched comedy romantic movies that you get for Christmas. It is touching, emotional, fun, and sad in its own deeply satisfying way. The movie follows the character of a history teacher played by Paul Giamatti, who works at a remote prep school and is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a troubled student who has no place to go. They are accompanied by the chef of the school, who is grieving as she's recently lost her son. The entire movie is three of these spending time together and finding ways of happiness within themselves as unlikely companions. That's it. The movie is very simple, yet so complex in its characters and how each one is going through life differently and has different reactions to it. The only thing one might not like about this movie is its slowness. Not because of the runtime, the length is just 2 hours and 13 minutes, but the movie takes place around 1970s and takes its sweet time to not rush in each frame. Right from the certification screen, everything has an old school vibe. They did shoot digitally but also used 55mm lens, creating a vintage portrait look. And it's not the movie's weak point at all. It's not bad. It's just that it might not be for everyone, especially for people who want a movie where things are happening at a fast pace in every few minutes. This might not be for you then, and that's completely understandable. But for people who love such realness and the movie spending time with each scene so graciously, you will have an unforgettable experience watching this, and it's rare for movies nowadays to evoke such emotions. One of the best things about this movie is the location it's set in. The set designs and real life locations that were used work wonders for this movie. They created this small spellbinding world, remote from the city, secluded, snowy, with beautiful shots that just has an appeal right from the very beginning. As an icing on the cake, the soundtrack of this movie just takes you back. It works so well in tandem with the shots that you just don't want to leave this world, but instead embrace it with all your being. All the songs are great, and I've been listening to this thing called Silverjoy on loop ever since. Back to the video, you start imagining yourself being a student or a faculty member at this place. It's that good and immersive, and at the end of the movie, 2 hours 13 minutes in fact, feels way less, and you just want the movie to go on forever. A completely unrelated wild comparison, by the way, but something Hogwarts was able to do for a lot of teenagers when it came out. Only more real and doable with the Holdovers. And no, Holdovers is not a movie about magic. It's just a random thought. The movie does create magic though in its own sense. There's mostly only 3 characters in the movie: the history teacher, the troubled student, and a grieving chef. With not a lot of action or stuff happening, it's mostly dialogue, silences, and mannerisms that make up for most of the movie, which means you rely on their performance more than ever to keep you engaged. Safe to say, all of them more than just succeed in doing so. They have distinct characteristics and traits that they bring to the table, along with different baggage of the past and ways to handle them. The star for me undoubtedly is Paul Giamatti. He plays the grumpy, cranky teacher who plays by the book and wants the best for his students, even if it means through ways of strictness and discipline. He has his own share of troubles, but is always straightforward no matter what. Terrifyingly, I saw a lot of myself in him. He never leaves school to go town. My introverted self wouldn't leave such a beautiful school either, to be among crowd and the noise of the city. He and Tully, who's the troubled kid, share a lot of screen space, and their conversation has to be the most engaging and likable part of the movie. Dominic, who plays the character of the troubled kid, I haven't seen him before in any movies, but he did a great job of playing a multi-layered character. He's a kid who is rich, but also has abandonment issues. His parents weren't there with him for Christmas, which is the main reason why he's staying at school. To hide this, he comes off as a rich, spoiled brat, but from within, he is a good guy. And Devine Joy Randolph, who plays the chef of the school, is pretty decent as well. She's recently lost her son and is grieving. A sudden change of emotions, reactions to people around her, pitying her, and her journey to overcome this loneliness is all so well fitted with the story of the teacher and the kid. The movie never feels it's not spending enough time with a certain character. And that brings me to the most important question. Is this a sad movie or a happy movie? It's certainly a movie that makes you feel things. It's a happy movie because all three people, in their own ways, are fighting their demons and trying to find happiness in the most unlikely places. And by the end of the movie, they do find comfort in their own selves. It's a sad movie at the same time because all three of them, in one way or the other, are alone. The movie does a very good showing versus telling thing, where there are a lot of details just shown, things related to mental health and well-being, but it does not stretch on that a lot. For that, it's touching and soulful. It stays with you long after you're done watching, and the ending might leave you with tears, not only because how it ends or because it ends, but also how reflective it makes you feel of your own life and how we should spend as much time possible with the people we love, as we never know what lies ahead of us. That was the video, guys. I highly recommend this movie if you've not watched it already, and the soundtrack as well. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite scene from the movie and if you liked it. Thanks a lot for watching this video. See you in the next one.